Hi, everyone. I'm Roseanne with Real Life Changes. And today I'm going to be sharing the 3 steps that you need to be doing in order to have successful affirmations or to have success with your affirmations. Affirmations, I think sometimes have a mixed reputation. Some people make fun of them. Some people do them, but they don't feel that they really work. So they're kind of him and hawing and not knowing really if they should keep doing them. And other people are like, affirmations work. So what is the difference? Why do we have some people that are really successful with affirmations and other people who are not so successful with them, and other people that just make fun of them because they think it's some sort of silliness, woo-woo, etc. Well, the woo-woo-ness comes from the fact that, in different movies, comedies, TV shows, etc., they have made fun of the fact of affirmations. And it's kind of interesting in that sense because often they do show you um, real things that would work, but because they're making fun of it, etc., people then don't actually utilize it because they think, no, that would be silly because it was in this movie and look, they made fun of it. And that therefore um, ensures that people aren't using this really, really simple, in some ways, uh, tool to truly change your life and get you on a higher frequency timeline, because that's what this is really about. Affirmations, when you are affirming something, you are, you know, in agreement with it. It's a positive statement, right? So let's go into step number 1, because that's what we're getting into: structure. Many people do know how to do it, but some people might have some confusion. So I'm going over the structure that is key for affirmations. First of all, you need to have your affirmation in present tense. It is already here. It is already in your life when you are saying this. And some people feel that that's kind of, um, you know, false, fake. However, it's actually not, because as soon as you start to even think of this thing that you want to affirm, you are creating the energy frequency for that. It just hasn't come to you yet. It is out there on a different path, perhaps, and you just need to shift yourself onto that path that you desire. So that's why it's in the present tense. It is already here. You are simply not aligned with it yet. And that's key to remember when you're doing these affirmations. You are aligning yourself with that timeline, basically, where that reality that you want exists. Part 2 of the structure is it needs to be positive, right? So you want to avoid words like don't, or, I don't like, not, anything that's negative. Um, so if you're envisaging a new home, for example, you wouldn't say, I don't want it to be here, or not this kind of a house. Avoid those. Say exactly what you want in the positive sense. I am living in a beautiful home by the mountains with a running creek, etc. So all of the things that you want, not the things that you don't want. And that's really, really, really important, because again, the mind doesn't hear don't usually. And it's focusing on the actual thing that you are putting so much energy into not wanting, into bringing that into fruition. So focus on present tense and positive, right? That's the structure. So now that we have the structure, what do we do with this? What we are going to do is we are going to preferably say them out loud. Why? Because when you are saying them, you are also hearing them then. Yes, you kind of hear it Some people maybe don't. I'm not going to assume. But when you're saying it to yourself inside your mind, you also kind of hear it in your mind. But it is actually more powerful when your ears are hearing them, because then your subconscious mind is also going to be hearing these commands. And the other really, really important part of how to say them is saying them with emotion. How would you feel if these affirmations were true? Right? And we are saying them as if they are true. They are in the present tense and they are here now. How are you feeling with that reality? And actually already living this situation, because that is what you want to. Again, as I was saying, you're trying to shift yourself to that timeline where this is already happening. So how are you feeling? And you want to tap into that motion. If you're not sure, think about, another time, or practice, different things that do bring you joy, gratitude, happiness. Where in your body are you feeling these emotions? And sometimes you can tune into that body area, like maybe it's your heart, maybe it's, butterflies in your stomach, maybe it is all just, up here in your head, and you feel like maybe you cry a little bit because it's so amazing. Whatever it is that is unique to you for the feeling of this particular reality, tap into that emotion. So when you're saying it, you truly do believe it does exist already. It is here. It's simply here, and you're trying to shift your energy frequency to that other timeline where it is already there. Step 3 is, when are you going to do this? Now, really, there's no one time that you absolutely have to. Whatever is good for you is the best time. But when your brain goes into theta wave frequency, it's more receptive to suggestions, to that tapping into that subconscious mind. And I actually have another video, which I'm going to link somewhere here or in the description, or maybe both, that goes into that whole subconscious mind part and how we do that. Because I've done a longer video on that already, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that. But when you have that theta wave frequency, you can, receive that information faster. And so one of the times that theta wave is present during meditation. If you're not big on meditation, then just before sleeping or just before waking. Most people do sleep, and they come from, there's those two parts. So either you can, as you're dozing off, say the affirmations to yourself, just as you're getting, into that sleepy state. And first thing in the morning, before you've fully gotten out of bed, is really a great time. Or if possible, you could also just listen to a pre-recorded affirmation that you have done in your own voice, and listen to it as you are going to sleep or first thing in the morning when you're waking up. The other way of doing it is, many people like to be able to look at themselves in a mirror. And this is the one that I found was made fun of the most in TV shows, etc., is looking at yourself in the mirror and saying these affirmations. So you are also getting a visual of yourself saying that. There is, mirrors are very interesting. I'm trying to think of how to put this. Mirrors are very interesting tools because, in a sense, they are like portals, and you can really put yourself into that other timeline through the portals of a mirror. And so if in the morning or at any point throughout the day, maybe you have your affirmations on little sticky notes on your mirror, again, written in present tense and positive, and that way you don't have to try to memorize it. You have them written down, and you say them while looking at yourself in the mirror 10 times out loud. and get into a real habit of this, especially if this is something that's, if you're doing affirmations, it's probably something really important to you. So, put that importance into, consistently doing the affirmations. And that's the other part of when is I would do them daily. You could do them again morning and night. You can do it throughout the day, maybe when you're driving your car, if you remember them and you can get yourself into that feeling while you're driving. Those kind of times are really great. And or during your meditation, it can be like your mantra, and it gets you into that state. So there are a lot of different variations to this. The key things are, though, the structure and the emotion. Those are really, that's the secret formula right there, is getting the emotion in. And also, I'm going to just clarify a little bit more in actual like what you are trying to affirm. Sometimes when you're too specific about what you want, meaning, say, for example, a job. A lot of people are very specific with jobs that they want. They want to work for this company, this position, it's, for this salary or something like that. And maybe that's not truly in alignment with your path, but you think it is. So your mind is getting in the way of your affirmation actually coming to fruition because you are being very narrow. Now, there's good things about specifics and challenges with specifics, because again, if you're narrowing into something that truly isn't actually in alignment with your frequency and wouldn't bring you that happiness, you're going to have some blocks there that you might not even realize, because they're just there to protect you. So, for example, instead, again, focus again on the feelings. I am, financially abundant. I have a job that I love. Think of those kind of things, maybe like within the field that I'm passionate about. So you can get creative with it without being too specific, yet it's still specific. You're talking about your career and where you want to go, and you might be surprised as to where you end up aligning yourself to, that it might not have been what you thought of at all, but it is really what you are going to be the happiest at. And so that's the trickiness with affirmations, is you need to get out of your own way sometimes, because we tend to think that we know better than the universe. We tend to think better than our own higher self and our soul purpose and plan. And it will sometimes allow you to make these detours, but then you're going to have to swing back, because you might manifest something because you are putting all that feeling into it, but it truly isn't what you think, what you thought it was going to be. And therefore you're, not as happy as if you simply manifested a more generalized feeling, yet not generalized. So I hope that makes sense, because that's the tricky part of it all, that, we think we know what we need and want. And sometimes, there's just better plans out there for you that you don't even know exist. And that's, keeping that book open, you might find you're going to get a lot better results. So I want to also just add in a few alternatives and extras that, might help, especially if you're not comfortable yet with maybe saying it out loud. That will come with time, perhaps, or maybe it doesn't. And maybe that's not where you can really channel your emotions. So things like gratitude journals, you can make them into affirmation journals. So you're writing things down, which is also another very powerful method, because it's adding in a layer to that affirmation. It's so concrete when it's written. And you can even write out the same affirmation multiple times in your journal. Or you could just be grateful for this reality that may not exist yet in your current frequency. However, you're going to align yourself by being grateful for this other timeline, basically, by giving thanks for it already. So that's just kind of a alternative method or additional method that you could be doing to reinforce the affirmations. And while you are writing them, again, using visualization and emotion, and you can even say it out while you're writing it down. Those are just some alternative ways of doing it. The other key thing is to remember mindfulness. I talk a lot about mindfulness because it is such a powerful thing that we have truly forgotten how to do due to all the external distractions in our world. So if you're using affirmations to change habits, you want to also, keep that active mind in the present and not going into pre-programmed habits, responses, and routines. So you may be saying all these affirmations and then you habitually go into these thought patterns that are negative, etc. So we want to practice mindfulness and catch ourselves and bring ourselves back into that present moment right now, because that's the only reality that exists for you right now, and shift yourself into that other timeline through the affirmations versus also that repetitive thought patterns that are keeping you in the negative frequency. So we want to really practice mindfulness a lot. And even, jot it down. Maybe you're catching yourself. What are these habits that you're doing that, they are so habitual that only because you're now becoming aware of them that you can start to peel them back and really examine them and shift your perspective back into the present. The other thing with mindfulness is it allows you to, again, be that neutral observer to your own life. You are, emotion is really powerful to shift you, right? But again, if that emotion that you're having through not being in that neutral place, maybe your habitual thoughts and emotions are much more negative. So practicing mindfulness to either be truly in your present moment, practicing that gratitude and non-reaction, and going into response. And then when you're doing your affirmations, you can shift into that more higher frequency positive timeline that you're wishing to create, or wishing to align with is the better way of thinking about it. So adding writing, journaling is a powerful thing. Visualizing, really, again, with all of that, with feeling, and then practicing that mindfulness to keep you in the present with either being neutral or then affirmations that are in that positive present voice as well. So I hope this helps. If you have any other questions, let me know, and I'd be happy to do my best to assist you in this journey of affirmations. Otherwise, I will see you on another quick little tutorial like this, or on my inspirational videos. And also got some exciting news to announce in the coming weeks. So make sure you stay tuned, because there's going to be all sorts of new ways of connecting and really, really tapping into your inner power and creating the life you really, really desire. Bye, everyone.